Welcome to How to Make Your Christianity Real. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 12 and 13 says, "We ask you, brothers, to respect those who labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves." I remember being a youth and a young adult, and I had a problem trusting people, including pastors, thinking they don't really care about me. They're just doing their job, pretending to care. There's one pastor I remembered I was critical of, thinking he was fake. I would judge him and question his sincerity as a pastor. And I would avoid shaking his hand or pretend he wasn't there, or I'd walk straight past him into the sanctuary. Another time in high school, I was angry to be at church. I didn't like being there. I didn't like the people there. But the only person that attempted to reach out to me was the pastor. And as I recollect, the poor guy deserves a medal for the way that I glared at him and barely responded to his attempts to reach out and connect with me. Now, ironically, being a pastor myself, I remember that vividly, and how unfair I was to perceive pastors in that way. I ask God to forgive me for how I treated them to this very day. And now I have a better understanding of what pastors have to go through. We must understand that pastors are human. They are bombarded from all different directions, everything demanding their attention. And honestly, because of that, they're bound to make mistakes. But because of their position, because they are pastors, there's this idea that we feel that they don't deserve forgiveness. Because the pastor is in the position that he's in, that doesn't mean that you can treat him as a doormat or take liberties to jab at him, and he's expected to take it and shouldn't do anything about it because he's a pastor. Paul says, show decent respect for those who are over you. Give the pastor the benefit of the doubt as you would a fellow church member. If you do have disagreements with your pastor, even theological ones, it's healthy to address them in some way and not just let them fester. There are too many people who sit in pews and constantly have thoughts and complaints about their pastor that they only discuss with their friends. And that's unhealthy. When misunderstandings arise, instead of a passive, aggressive way of relating to your pastor, prayerfully talk to him and address the problem you have with him directly and try to come to a resolution. Every pastor has enormous burdens on their shoulders, and your disgruntled attitude towards him can add more to that mountain of concerns that will crush him. Now, there may be some of you watching and hearing me say that and saying, "Good, that's what I want. I want to crush my pastor." Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17 says, "Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you." Notice Paul is saying that it is for your advantage that the pastors are serving you and your congregation. You know, it's very easy to criticize someone in leadership or in a position of leadership, pastors included. But how much time is devoted to pray for him? Or better yet, pray with him, seeking to work alongside the pastor for the mission of the church. Moses was raising his hands in prayer to bring victory to God's people. Let's be like Aaron and who put a stone under Moses to sit on and held up his hands. And in the same way, let us do the same for our church leaders. That's one way of encouraging your pastor and at the same time making your Christianity real.